All right, there you go. Any questions about what's on the old board there? The TV? All right. Today's the 17th. I normally have two more things I would put on your upcoming quiz. I've decided just to add one, and then we'll take a quiz, and then we'll learn the other part where there's variables on the other side, and then we'll take another quiz over that. Okay? I thought that might be easier for you guys than putting it all on the same thing. So if you feel strongly in opposition to that, then we could just plow through and take one big quiz over all of it if you have any strong opinions on that. You good? Right. What are the abs now? Like 13 and 1?
Oh, over there going on.
What'd you say? They're gross?
There,
Gross.
they're a different breed.
They're out of control. My handwriting is kind of on point today. All right. Let's take a peek at what we're up against here. So, ooh, yeah. All right. Welcome back. Monday morning, 7:56 a.m. First math problem of the week. What do we do first? Subtracting 7 is the right answer, right? You got to get rid of that straggler number first. So we have -4 times the absolute value of the stuff is less than or equal to what? No 21 menos 7. Are you guys just giving me the silent treatment, or does no one is no one capable of handling 91 minus 7? Did you say 84? Did that come from back there? Thank you. Everyone was giving me the silent treatment. You guys are freaking me out. Now what? Oh yeah. So if we divide, and I'm going to show my work on this step just because we're about to do something funky. If we divide by a negative, what do we have to remember? Switch that sign. So we have the absolute value of -9 plus 3x is greater than or equal to, yeah. So you have to add what's about to be spoken about into your repertoire. Like this needs to go in your notes, which it is right now. But this is weird. So this is not like absolute value equations. If it were an absolute value equation, we would just stop and say no solution. But at this point, it's kind of a 50-50 situation split. What happens here? Let's just talk common sense about the absolute value. Let's say I scribbled all this stuff out as if to say, I don't care what's in there. What is the absolute lowest answer that an absolute value, remember, it's like a little machine. What's the smallest number that it's capable of producing? What is the smallest number that any absolute value can spit out to you? 0 is the lowest it can go. It can never produce a negative number. Absolute value is a predictable little machine. No matter what you feed it, the lowest it can possibly give you back is a 0. So what percentage of the time will the absolute value of some stuff be greater than or equal to -21? Say again? Nope. Here, I'll just make up some absolute values. What's the absolute value of negative 112? 112. What's the absolute value of 0? What's the absolute value of 56? What's the absolute value of negative 6,246.3 repeating? 6,246.3 repeating, right? So I'm going to ask you again, what percentage of the time will these answers be greater than or equal to negative 21?
Never.
Someone said it. 100.0% of the time. This statement is always true. You could sit here for a year and do nothing for a year, but put stuff in there where the yellow stuff is scribbled out. Try as hard as you want. Put anything in that you want. You have a 100% guarantee that that absolute value is going to spit out something that is at least 0. Therefore, by default, it's going to be obviously greater than or equal to negative 21. Therefore, the solution to this inequality is not a math question as much as it is a common sense question. The answer to this question is that all real numbers are solutions. Pick any number you want. Here, the absolute value of negative 9 plus 3x. Pick any number you want and put it in place of x. 67? Sure. 67, is that what we're going to put in? What a great way to start the week. Let's do it. So if I put 67 in here in place of x, why not? 3 times 67 is 201. What's negative 9 plus 201? Exactly. It's 192. And what's the absolute value of 192? It's 192. I can say this. It's sure as heck greater than or equal to negative 21, right? So we can say that anytime the absolute value is greater than a negative or equal to a negative, there's no number that won't work. All real numbers are solutions to this math problem. So the question becomes, well, how do I write my answer? And the answer is, you just did. It's right there. We don't write x is greater than this or x is less than this or negative 5 is less than x. We don't do that because literally every number that is real will solve this problem. So follow-up question, how do we graph it? Well, we start every problem with just kind of a buck naked number line, right? What are my boundaries? Don't care. Do I have boundaries? No. What do I shade? Everything. So leaving your number line buck naked would not be okay. However, shading the entire number line like this and putting arrowheads on both sides expresses what you want to express, and that is that there is no number that can escape working. They all work. Let's do another one. This one is going to be 2 minus 9 times the absolute value of a plus 7 is greater than or equal to 47. What do we do first? Subtract that 2. All right, don't you dare try to combine the 2 minus 9. No, no, no. You get rid of the 2 by subtracting it, and you're left still with that minus 9, who's now called a negative 9, times the absolute value of a plus 7 is greater than or equal to 45. And now what do we do? We divide by negative 9, and I'm going to show my work again because of the significance of what we're doing. When I divide by a negative 9, I'm doing basic algebra there. Yeah, I get it. I'm just getting rid of a number, but I've got to be aware that this is not an equal sign. This is an inequality sign. So when I bring down my absolute value, Help me finish this off. What's the rest of it going to say? Is less than or equal to -5. The fact that this is a negative number means that this is no longer a math problem. And I don't think I do a good enough job of that from one year to the next, of convincing people that this is not one where you write two equations and look for boundaries and test points. We left the realm of math and we entered the realm of just straight up basic common sense. Again, do I care what's in here? Not anymore. I don't. What is this absolute value never going to make? He's never going to make a negative, which begs the question, what percentage of the time will that little red machine spit out something that is less than or equal to -5? 0%. It never will. It never can. Absolute value is very well defined. It knows what it's doing. It will give you back a 0 or a positive. It is never going to give you something that is less than -5. What is the answer then? There is no solution. And no solution can be written as two words, no solution. Math people also draw circles with a slash. That notation in mathematics represents what we call the empty set. And real math nerds draw this, which is a set that is empty. So I'm happy with any of the three. I think most commonly people write this. Second most commonly, people write this, and then rarely does any weirdo write the set notation, but you can. They all mean the same thing. No numbers are ever going to make this work, no matter how hard we try. Okay. How do you graph it, do you suppose? No matter the situation, I'm drawing a number line like this. I don't care if it's last Thursday, last Wednesday, tomorrow. If we're solving inequalities, we're drawing a number line. How do I graph it? Leave it just like that. Your buck naked number line is your graph. That's how we show people that we understand that visually there's no number I'd want to shade in. There's nothing. There's no boundaries. That's it. Done. So we state no solution. We just make an empty number line and we call it good. Round 3. 9 minus 9 times the absolute value of 7m plus 8 is less than or equal to 0. Which road do you think we're headed down? For this quiz on Wednesday, there are now 3 roads that you have to take. Which road do you think this is? Let's find out. What do we do first? Subtract that pesky 9 from both sides, right? Because it's a positive 9. And we're left with -9, still hanging out, multiplied by the thing. The absolute value thing is less than or equal to, what's 0 minus 9? -9. Next step, divide by -9. The 3 roads that we go down are either no solution, all real numbers, or proceed as normal. Which one's this? Proceed as normal. And we're like, yeah, well, there's a negative number over there, but really there's not anymore because we divided by a negative and we're left at the crossroads. We're left with the thing I've been telling you got to have on every problem. The absolute value statement when it's by itself. The absolute value of blah, blah, blah is what? Greater than or equal to 1. The reason I put this in here is because I didn't want you to walk away from this lesson thinking that from this, like this next assignment, that every problem is a special case. No. Your job now is to just start watching for them. They're going to be in there sometimes. But this is a normal problem. So let's do this. It's been a few days since we've mathed together, so let's solve this. Now that we see that this is a positive one, we are good to proceed. This is math. What do we do? Split that sucker, right? You're going to write two equations in order to find your boundary points. So one of your equations is going to say stuff inside, I need you to equal 1. Other equation is going to say stuff inside, I need you to equal -1. That's how we find our caps on the ends. What's the solution to the red equation? -1 for sure. 1 minus 8 is -7 divided by 7 is -1. So we found an endpoint, a boundary. Stuff changes there. And the purple equation is a little bit more maybe stressful for people, right? Because you get -9 on the right. So what do you get for M? You get -9/7. Are we scared? No. Now there's a slight bit of stress here when it comes to marking my boundaries. I'll go ahead and just put two little notches. Which one goes first on the left? -9/7 is a bigger negative number than -1. -1 and 2/7 is more negative. So we're going to put the purple one over here, and then the red one we're going to put over here. What kind of circles am I going to do? Open or closed? Closed. And now it's time for boundary testing. With this sort of run-of-the-mill problem, this all changes, by the way, on Thursday. Okay? But for a couple more days, I can say it's either going to be a splitter or a squisher. So you really should only have to test 1 point. I love testing 0. And 0 is right over there, you would agree, right? If 0 is true, then we know we got ourselves a pusher, a splitter. If 0 is false, then by default, we know we've got an inside squisher. So let's test 0. Let's go back up to the very beginning of the problem, way up here before we laid hands on it, before we had a chance to mess up. Let's go all the way back to the beginning and put in 0. What is 7 times 0? 0. What is 0 times 8? Or 0 plus 8 is 8. What is -9 times 8? -72. And what's 9 minus 72? -63. Is -63 less than or equal to 0? It is. Therefore, since that came out as a truthful statement, then the point that we test is in a truth zone, which means that our shading will be here. And again, for another couple of days until we introduce variables in multiple locations, you can rest assured that that side will also work. But if you want that extra little bit of peace of mind, you could always test a point on the far left. If you really want to be thorough, test one on the far left and test one in the middle. It's up to you. Okay. So let me skip some steps on the last two examples because I can tell you're probably okay and you're probably over this by now. So I'm going to skip all the cleanup work and the prep work. I didn't write my statement. I didn't actually write the solution. Slacker. Thank you. So the solution would be an or. What would the left side, the purple green side be? X is less than or equal to -9/7. Thank you, Morgan, for reminding me of this. And what would the right, the red and green, the Christmas side be? There you go. Thanks. My bad. Good. All right. So again, on these last two, I'm going to just cut right to the end. I'm going to get rid of all the adding, subtracting, and dividing and just save us a little bit of time. So I just want to make sure you guys are all on the correct page. So for this one, we're going to have the absolute value of -5x plus 627,924.1. Repeating, like it, is going to be greater than -13.
Oh,
Is it a proceed, a no solution, or an all real numbers? This is all real numbers. This absolute value, no matter how hard you try to bully it into doing something other than this, it will always give you an answer that's bigger than -13. It's like, well, of course I'm going to give you an answer bigger than -13 because the smallest thing I can give you is 0. So in a case like this, when it's greater than a negative, we say all real numbers. Fancy mathematicians use a symbol in mathematics, which is a double vertical bar, and then the left vertical bar connects across like this. This in mathematics is a symbol that mathematicians recognize as saying the entire set of real numbers. So you can also use that. Okay. It is not just a capital R, it is a double barred capital R like this. Okay. If you're uncomfortable with that, which I recognize you might be, just write it out, old school. And how do we graph this sucker?
what,
Yeah, so start with your number line like this, and then fill your number line completely in. Shade over the top of the entire number line, just to signify that, hey, everything works. Good, good, good. And then our last one, you can probably guess where I'm headed with this, is the absolute value of 11.923 with the 2 and the 3 repeating, plus 84.6x is less than -7.
no,
Right. The fact that this absolute value is trying its darndest to produce an answer that's going to be smaller than -7, it can't. It's powerless against the laws of reason. Therefore, we say that this equation has no solution. And how do we graph it? You leave it blank. So you just draw a number line. You still have to put arrows on your number line because it is, after all, a number line. And then you just let it sit there, just like that. Do you guys have any questions? These are now introduced into the mix. So on today's assignment 19, you're going to see some that are proceed, split, boundary, shade, and then you're going to see some that are no solution and some that are all real numbers. Good. What's tomorrow? Practice quiz. What's Wednesday? Nice. All right.